Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and a very warm welcome to KritzKast. We've got the UGC EU Platinum Grand Final. I'm Dave, joined by Core behind the camera, and Raelyn is the newcaster alongside me. How you doing?
I'm doing well. It's a pleasure to be here. My heavy, Namba, I believe will be taking part in this match. He is proven to be quite a delightful teammate so far from what I've played with him. I look forward to see how he does up against the reigning champions.
Yeah, he won't be playing heavy tonight. He's going to be on demo. They're now basically a mixed team field of players of an extreme amount of Prem experience. Multiple players. We've got Minex, we've got Honjo, we've got a listener, a bunch of players who have played Premiership Grand Finals, Buko as well on Sniper. So a pretty tasty roster, but they're probably going to be at a huge disadvantage in terms of we know what SDCK are like. We know the team play they bring, the coordination they have. That's difficult to match with a mixed team, isn't it?
Oh, well, of course. I mean, we all know how much of a powerhouse of a team SDCK have been. These guys have won, I think, about 17 total grand victories in Platinum.
How do you think overall this first map is likely to go?
I think my prediction is I think SDCK might start off a little bit rocky, but overall I think they're going to take this map 2-0, and I think we won't get to Swiftwater.
That's a fair prediction. I definitely think you've got to put your money on them overall. They've got to be the heavy favourites, despite how talented this Equestria Ghost team is.
Better chance.
I would say I've seen plenty of UGC games where SDCK have started slow, as you say, and they've kind of come back. I think even the game earlier on in the season, they looked a little bit, between these two teams, they looked a little bit questionable on the first round or so of that Brute game, and then came back stronger. But yeah, I'm going to say Equestria Girls will take at least the first round of this Vigil.
Okay, all right. And we're getting underway here. This is UGC Season 41 Grand Finals in Platinum, SDCK versus Equestria Girls.
Yeah, it's going to be Equestria Girls starting off on the offense on the blue, and they're setting the pace. It's going to be red defenders are going to be, of course, SDCK, the defending champions. Pretty a normal setup. Everyone just back around the sentry gun, waiting for some blue players to peek before the shots really get firing.
Jackie applying some nice pressure from behind the car, just trying to stop Buko from having a nice little sight line there, but like he gets a nice pick onto the Pyro, but Legioner and Namba are just going to keep aggressing here and buying this space.
Ooh, Andre got in towards Buddy there, but Buddy is just able to sidestep him a little bit. They've actually blocked the cart for now, but the cart is so close, and the thing about this point is once that cart gets capped, it extends the defender's spawn time. Even if you've already died, even if you're waiting for that spawn, it extends it a lot. So T-Borden's going to get an extra 10 seconds added onto his spawn time, and he's not going to be up for this second point defense.
Yeah, that's a massive pick, because a lot of teams like to sack in here, and that's exactly what's going to happen as Honjo bombs deep, gets a big rocket onto Park, but that's not going to be enough as he does back up. I would have liked to have seen Namba bomb in there, but I think he got picked by something before he got to.
Well, Honjo probably is takes him a while to go down there in that scenario, but yeah, as you said, Kedu will escape, but now he wants to go forward, and so does Buddy, but no one else is with them at the moment. They're a little bit vulnerable, but Kedu's got such fantastic mechanics. He's comfortable playing in those aggressive spots regardless of how many players are around him, but backing up just a little bit, providing a little bit of space. Equestria goes a bit passive overall, trying to go in for this, what we now call the failure push, probably from tunnel. They have that Uber ready to pop. I expect we're going to see a trade pretty shortly.
Sap comes in and the Uber is exchanged here. Big bomb from Honjo actually, gets rid of Borden and Clark. So if they can re-heal and come back in here, I think that the Equestria Girls are actually going to take this here. If they can get rid of... Yep, and he does go down, Dixsource, in that area. The heavy on the hill is a big reason why it's so difficult to push into this point. Jackie Legs is still behind though, and he's trying to get some picks. He does manage to exchange with Honjo, gets rid of him, and he's still going to be back there with Mezzo.
The combo is down, but Jackie Legs and Mezzo are just lurking around the spawn, making it awkward. Jackie Legs even has the banner, which they will have heard but Timmy's going to have to fight him in the spawn. Now as the help of Honjo, and Menix is going to chase him down, but he's bought a lot of time, and it looks like he might, no, almost got out, but bought a decent amount of time for his team to regroup, and they are at a big Uber disadvantage here. Assassin does have over 50% advantage, but that snipe from Likey takes Number out, and that's going to slow the offense down just a bit here.
That is a huge pick. Buko is going to be trying to be worked in here. Oh, but Mezzo does take him out, and that... we'll see the Uber come in here from Equestria girls as they try to get around the corner, but they don't really get much with the Uber. Honjo tries to reclaim something with a big bomb there, but I think SDCK are just going to hold this. That said, Timmy did get a nice pick on the heavy there, and they're actually going to keep their heels forward here, and they get the cart cap. The Uber just coming in slightly too late before they could block the cart. Very unfortunate from SDCK there. They just barely didn't have enough time, I think, to get the Uber.
Definite misplay too. You go and pop that Uber when that car is close. I mean, even if it's close and not capped, I think it's always risky to stay in because they know that anyone just sniffing towards it can cap it out. And you know, once it's that close, I think it's very difficult to take the fight on third. They kited the Uber decently. Without a demo man in that offensive Uber, didn't do too much. But the important thing is they consistently had that car time. And they got it up that ramp crucially.
Another set of Uber advantage here coming in for Equestria girls. They're going to elect to a very early Uber in from Orange. Not the best Uber, though. It was a really early pop, and they could have held it for a little bit more. And I don't think they really got much damage out in that Uber. And I think Likey just sort of controls this angle here. And the core combo of SDCK are just going to keep holding in the middle of the point here and just deal damage and stay there.
Budgie once more is drifting forward, does have to fight Menix, but is able to escape with his life for now. That could have been a little bit risky, but as you say, 100% Uber advantage to get they can pop should they need.
Excellent bomb from Honjo there at the end there, manages to take down the engineer and the sniper. If Equestria girls can peek quickly from outside on tracks, they might be able to get this sentry for free.
Yeah, potentially Timmy might be able to get in position for us up. There's no engineer to heal it at the moment. They're thinking about peeking it, but actually they go in actually through Red Room, take the Uber in, take out Buko, no threat from outside. They found Assassin as well in that Uber, and it's actually worked out very, very well. Slightly risky, slightly unconventional at times to really go for aggressive Ubers, but they saw it was on. Equestria goes stood a little bit too far forward, disrespecting that chance of that aggressive Uber coming out, and SDCK made them pay. I
think that shows really great game knowledge there from all of SDCK, as well as responding to probably Mezzo's comms as he was cloak and daggered on the outside here. They knew their NG and sniper were down. They probably knew they were going to get peaked really aggressively here, so they just ran forward and caught Assassin out when they didn't expect it. Just as you'd expect from the Grand Champions.
Yeah, but now a scenario where despite that setback, it is basically dry for a little bit. Actually, Geddy's somehow gone down to a listener. I don't exactly understand how he found so much space.
And a lot of spam, I believe.
Listener closing down. The cart is very, very close. There's a bunch of players down for the defense, but he's desperately trying to keep it alive by putting stickies on the cart. Now the bomb from Honjo comes in, one rocket onto Buddy, but actually Frontier Justice crits from Clark is able to clean up that bombing soldier, and the cart is rolling back.
Worth saying as well, Jackie also did an excellent peek from the flank and did manage to take down Assassin. And in general, he's doing some excellent work on this flank here. He's not getting focused. He's putting out tons of damage with Buddy. Jackie's just kind of having free reign on this flank right now as the battalion's backup comes in.
Yeah, clutch moments really. I think there's only 5 up for SDCK there, and the blue spawners are coming in, but just a couple of important shots hit really by Clark, and Jackie has allowed what would have been a pretty fast time for Equestria goes could now go into a lengthy one, as there is a proper hold now for the SDCK defense, and they even have a small Uber advantage, but Assassin will be up with that Uber very shortly.
It is equal Ubers, and then Likey has gone down, so you'd like to think that they would take outside, just get this big sight line, but they're actually going to Uber in on their scout here, try to run forward, and the exchange comes through. Not the best exchange, in my opinion, for Equestria girls, but maybe they just wanted to take the Uber out of the equation as they do try to spam down this sentry, and it does go down.
Yeah, they did make some space for Buko outside, but he did get spammed just as the Uber faded, so he wasn't quite able to find anything. Numbers gone down once more, so we'll just see Honjo go in, take Likey out. Likey's died quite a few times on this defense. Honjo really finding some work onto him, but so far haven't quite been able to make that sniper pick play for Equestria Girls.
I mean, both teams are fully aware of how dangerous both of these snipers are. Some of the most mechanically gifted that we've seen in European Highlander. But we're going to be seeing Buko make some space here, and Mezzo does get the pick onto Buko outside. That is a trade that you're going to want to take every single time. But Equestria Girls are looking to bust the flank here, as Nambo is going to work his way in here with the medic. Uber is ready here, and a lot of players have gone down for SDCK. But spawners might be coming in time by the time that Uber fades. And they've only got a mini sentry as opposed to like a full level 3. So this is defendable if SDCK can manage to get their way back in from the flank. But some good staggered kills here from Equestria Girls, I think, is going to do enough. And that's going to be the time set in 8 minutes and 35 seconds for Equestria Girls.
Yeah, they definitely will be a little bit disappointed that it could have been a lot faster, particularly after a pretty quick first 3 points. Fairly standard, I'd say, at top level that most teams push these first 3 points very quickly now, and took a little bit of time on the last. It's not a bad time by any means overall, but certainly one SDCK will be more comfortable with beating.
Absolutely. I think this has been relatively standard for what you'd expect for a Vigil game thus far. Both snipers, Honjo and as well as Jackie from time to time, they've been trying to make sure that these snipers aren't having a massive impact in this game. As you know, we both know if these snipers are allowed to maintain their position for the entirety of the match uncontested, you're gonna get a lot of picks. Like, these guys are scary. But you know, 8 minutes 35, as you said, pretty standard time. We're gonna be seeing Equestria Girls on the defense now. They've got the crit stickies just spread out all over. See if they catch anyone. Standard sentry positions. And we're going to see how these guys roll out.
Yeah, perhaps slightly more aggressive hold here than you'd expect from Equestria Girls. There's no real risk of playing forward on the tracks here until you maybe lose your sniper, maybe lose your demo. Once you lose a couple of classes, it becomes a little bit more vulnerable. You can see, actually, with the rotation from SDCK, getting some players on this flank already, Equestria Girls are kiting themselves backwards.
That was standard, I think, Buko play there. He loves to peek that hill at the start of the game on defense, try to get some cheeky picks. We would have seen Dixos try to push the flank on his own there, but he does end up getting taken down by Timmy. Jackie Legs is going to work his way down, though. He hasn't really been spotted thus far. He's just going to put some spam on the sentry. Seems like a fairly slow push so far from SDCK. Equestria Girls were a lot more aggressive on their offense. They just put bodies on the cart and got the cart forward a lot more. A little bit more hesitant from SDCK. I think they're looking for some good opening picks from Likey or something like that before they really take the aggression. But Buddy is quite far forward now, as I've said that. Just gets absolutely mullered by the sentry, however, though. And I think that Equestria Girls are going to stay in here. Ooh, but that was until Likey got a nice pick onto Namba. And that will be SDCK taking the first point.
Yeah, Namba's gone down, and once more we see he's the unfortunate soul who has to eat that long respawn run as the cap does come in. And there's very few players up for the defense. It's just Honjo with that banner, Assassin and Listener. A few spawners are now coming in, but is it too little too late? There's so much space already over the hill for SDCK. They're going to take the Uber in with the tail end of that banner, but it's easy for SDCK to just rebound their own Uber straight back in the Equestria Girls faces. They still have control of the hill, they still have the high ground. The cart is very, very close to being capped, and Equestria Girls will have to back out here. They don't want to overstay their welcome.
I think it's very understated just how much Jackie Legs did in that push. He got behind their spawn, and he just spent the last, like, 30 seconds being a complete nuisance. He jumped back to third, got a pack, came back in, and just walked at Assassin and just two-rocketed him. Jackie's just an absolute nuisance to deal with.
He's a menace. Even when you think he's having a quiet game, he'll pop up with something crazy, but so far he's been very, very difficult for the Equestria Girls to get their hands on, really. He's struggling to control him. There's a nice little stab from Timmy onto Dixos. Kiddu goes down as well. Honjo coming in. 4 kills now for Honjo in this fight, just peeking around that corner, playing almost a pocket soldier. A long sinking the damage with his demo man, and just so much incoming damage couldn't all be reflected by T-Bordon, and just nukes down that SDCK combo. Important rebound here for Equestria goes.
Mezzo all the way behind now and in a good position, ready to get on the sniper or sap the sentry, whatever it is that SDCK needing to do when they come to get in here. But it is going to be a considerable Uber advantage for Assassins so far. Jackie Legs is going to actually come in through under and find a pick onto Namba, which is going to be just what the SDCK want, as they're going to put some bodies on the cart here and just get it up the hill. All they've got to worry about is Buko getting a pick here, really, as long as Borden stays on the cart and reflects some good spam here. Oh, but the Uber does come in from Assassin, but that's going to be easily kited by Borden. And I think they might have to give up this third point, because that Uber did not go the way they wanted. As Jackie Legs bombs in, finds one rocket onto Assassin, misses the second. That's a nice cleanup from Mezzo, will take him down, and that's going to be a nice point cap there from SDCK, as Equestria girls are going to scramble to get a last hold set up.
Beautiful impact by Jack Legs. Even when he's missing rockets, he's putting himself in a beautiful position where Assassin had no escape, and Mezzo was able to follow up on the back of him. Once more banner coming in from Honjo, but this time it's kind of a solo attempt, and the banner is obviously way more effective when you have your teammates around you. Doesn't really work out. Aggressive Uber from SDCK. Buys some space, but they're not going to get too many frags. Equestria goes having to play from the cafe area. There's still May to deal with, but they've dealt with Buddy, the demo man, and Dick Source, the heavy. Those players going down means it's not really the HP or the damage output from this SDCK combo, and maybe a little bit of respite here for Equestria Girls. They look to just steady themselves, get themselves back, set up, reset, and look to hold with what is going to feel like an eternity with 4 minutes remaining.
Yeah, I think that was definitely one of those situations where they jumped the gun a little bit. They could have waited for the cart to be a little bit closer, and maybe not maybe risk just walking in a bit deeper before they pop. It was too easy to kite when you've got the spawn door around and the cart's that far back. So a full hold is going to be set up here. As you said, it's going to feel like an eternity with 3 minutes and 40 here. Timmy, however, will find an excellent pick onto Ghetto. And they try to just salvage it by running in here, and they do actually get the force, which will be enough to compensate. But we're gonna see Menex actually just jump all the way back and trade with the engineer, get rid of the sentry. But the hold will be maintained.
Yeah, I mean, SDCK did what they had to do. As soon as the medic went down, they went in a position. They just flooded all the remaining 8 players in, got the force out as they would have wanted. I mean, it's basically even Ubers, but pressure is coming in at dry right now, mostly from the red room area. There's a banner up for Honda. There's a sap coming in from Mezzo. The sentry gun is taken out. It's going to allow Dick Source to just hold W into the enemy team. There's cart pressure coming in from T-Borden, but it's actually shaking out better for the Equestrian girls. They've certainly lost some players. There's going to be a faster spawn to work with from SDCK, but with only Honjo and Old School going down, the hold will remain for now.
I think that was an excellent collapse by the flank and spy of Equestria girls. Timmy did a great job just picking off like 2 people there in the middle of the push, and the combined spam managed to get rid of them. Really well defended. 2 minutes and 20 seconds remain on the clock. Pressure maybe starting to pile up a little bit for SDCK, maybe?
It's going to be working against them now, and this time they have to deal with potential of that aggressive Uber coming out that we saw them use themselves on the defense. You're going to see Buko win that sniper versus Likey on the outside, but the pressure is continuing to come in. T-Borden and Buddy are going to walk onto the cart, just apply some spam to get rid of the sentry gun, and players are going down for Equestria Girls. They're gonna feel the need to force out Namba and Old School going forward, but not too many players to support them. They're gonna have to kite back here with just 2 alive.
The absolute trust in Mezzo there. It was just raw sat and nothing else, as like the rest of the team just came in and spammed, and Mezzo somehow was able to walk out and not take a single scrap of damage somehow. And wow, with Ubers out of the equation, they just pretty much dried that. And I think that's that chemistry. Just, you know, the main caller just saying, we're SDCK. Come on, let's just push without Ubers. And they just absolutely muller it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the difference between, you know, a good Prem team and the best team in Europe for, you know, many, many years now. SDCK, obviously they did lose that last grand final, but still, they are an elite team.
Taking a look at these logs here, we're going to see Likey at the top of the scoreboard, putting out 20 kills with 11 deaths. And we've got Honjo on Equestria Girls, putting out the most damage, 500 damage a minute on Soldier. Pretty impressive, I think. Like, looking at these logs, it doesn't seem like lopsided at all. I think both teams were doing great work in like the pick department, just the spam department. There were times when like both teams seemed very even. But I think, as I said, like in that last push, I think you just really see the chemistry come together, the trust in Mezzo, just the combined spam like coming in. They just seemed a bit more organized, I think, really. That's just the difference.
I think the good news here is if people were expecting like a dominant role for SDCK, I think that's probably off the table. We've seen that Equestria Girls are here, they've turned up, they're ready to play, they're going to make this a contest. Definitely
was not a stomp, you know. Equestria Girls managed to take him to, 2 minutes left on the clock before SDCK managed to take it. You know, if they were able to get a second hold going, it's very possible that the ending of this match could have been a bit different.
But it seems we have finally got into the second round now. SDCK did take that first round of Vigil. They'll be looking to take the second round and go straight on to the next map, which will be their pick of Wamrtic.
Yep, Gedu found his way back from his extra time smoke break. And we're going to be getting into the second round of Vigil. If you're just tuning in now, it is currently 1-0 for SDCK. Possibly decide a round on this map now. And the next map we're going to be looking forward to is King of the Hill Wamrtic. So stay tuned for more KritzKast Highlander action as this match rolls on.
Yeah, it's maybe the players were getting a map talk during that extended breakdown exactly what was happening, but yeah, it was as you say, it was fairly standard kind of stuff. We normally see these number teams and expect crazy stuff to happen, but basically everything that has been the meta of the last few seasons in EU Highlander was exactly what was going on. We haven't seen anything crazy just yet. Both soldiers, I think, have been making good use of banners. That's probably something to look out for in this next round as we go into it with SDCK on the blue, starting off, setting the pace. It's going to be Equestria Girls on the defense.
Jackie Legs is going to be bombing deep on the flank here, but he will find himself taken out of the sky by the anti-air gun. That is a Legioner. Just going to be opting for some standard pressure here, trying to work Likey into a good position on track to try and get a pick. Timmy, of course, staying in a nice cloak and dagger position to just calm when he's peeking. But Namba will be going down to a big pick here. Mezzo's going to be coming in around the back, but will be spotted by May. And I think SDCK are actually just going to back out of first point. They want to get a solid second hold set up, because that's where a lot of the time on this map does come from.
Yeah, as soon as that demo went down for Equestria Girls' number going down, meant there's not going to be a hold anymore. SDCK already looking for something. I'm seeing Buddy just waiting around the car for a buff. Just a little bit, thinking about exactly how they want to take it. Pressuring now from the main cave tunnel entrance, thinking about perhaps an Uber, but at the moment they're just moving the cart a little bit, as it's very difficult for the defense to pressure and block the cart while it's in this tunnel like there.
They tried working Likey deep into that side tunnel to try and get a pick, but a big committal here from the main exit, and quite a few frags having been traded. Buddy had gone down in the aggression, so it looks like Equestria Girls will maintain their stance here, but Likey does have a lot of space on the hill here. He's very aggressive here. I'm surprised he's not getting pressured out more, and he might actually go down from combined spam. He was very far forward there, and an Uber does come up to try and save save Dick Sauce from being dropped there. I think that was a panic Uber from SDCK. I don't think that was an on their terms Uber, if you know.
Assassin's Uber was able to catch Numbers. He was very risking cratering there, but he's able to just pop it out. Buko hits a headshot onto Likey, takes the sniper out of the fight. Jackie Legs is trying to make some plays. He did frag Skyfox earlier, but so far SDCK just kind of crumbling as they peek and as they walk forward. No frags for them to work with. Honjo has 50% of his battalion's backup up already, so at the moment the defense is looking damn solid.
He's going to try and sack here on his own, unassisted. He will just get mulched out. This guy somehow does manage to find a pick onto Buko, though. I'm not sure how that occurred. Just two very crisp rockets. Jackie like surprised himself in the chat as Buddy and the rest of SDCK will walk forward and take this massive space on here. You've got Dixels in the primo position here. And he's just going to jump downwards and find himself relatively safe. Uber will be coming in much later onto Borden as he comes in round this corner. And yeah, Buddy and Borden will just absolutely mulch everyone still remaining.
Yeah, slightly questionable defensive Uber coming out from the Equestria goes there. I don't think SDCK were really in a position where that trade was ever going to be, you know, at least optimal. They could have made it work, but either way, the SDCK Uber was very, very well dealt with. They just played it perfectly. They made sure they had the right flashes in the right positions, took over, and now they're already roaring into third here. Cart's still a while back, but Dixos is in position to go for something.
So it's amazing what your team will do, like space-wise, once the enemy sniper like finds himself down. And like I said, it was incredulous. I think that Jackie managed to find that pick onto Buko. Jackie just doing a nice bit of cross spam here. The Talion's backup does come out from the Equestria girls' side. They're just still going to be trading spam here, and the heavy will go down. Illusioner is down on the flank. The heavy does end up denying a lot of space from people that try to pressure from the big flank here, so they're going to probably work their way up the slope here. SDCK hills are just being flooded here, and the Uber does come out onto Dixos. It will get pushed back, and the counter Uber does come back in onto Old School as he tries to reflect a bit of spam here, but the sightline is in Likey's favor, so any peaks here will be punished as Honjo does find his head domed in, and SDCK will probably get this cap. Yes, there we go.
Wasn't the prettiest push by any means, but look how effective it's been. Nambo was just absolutely needed healing throughout all of that. Couldn't get the arrows onto him from Assassin, and with no Demoman able to confidently peek forward and confidently deny that third point, they were just absolutely able to steamroll. Already going for a spawn camp, Jackie Legs and Buddy very, very deep, but importantly keep themselves alive, don't feed. And Kidu is already very, very aggressive. There's attempts here from the Equestria girls to push out. They've found some space, but they've also found those sight lines for Likey. He's got 3 quick frags to put themselves in a great position. Just 3 alive now. A listener, Skyfox goes down. Assassin nearly has Uber, but I think it's going to matter.
Just textbook play from SDCK there. They got they managed to steamroll it from third to last. Got a spawn camp going. Mezzo and Lakey just controlled the space with all the spam. They got the picks, staggered spawns, and then so Medic just forced out on his own with no Uber. What can you do in that situation when you're just taken to your last like that and just having difficulties leaving spawn?
Yeah, just really, really clinical conversion there. Just one really good push on third. Got all the frags they needed. Tried to spawn camp, kept themselves alive, didn't feed on that spawn camp, and were just able to get all the position. And, it's all well and good. You have to push out from that spawn, have to take that space back, otherwise the car is just going to roll in uncontested. But it's easier said than done, particularly when you get against a side as good as SDCK.
Yeah, no, it was just a very good push. I mean, 5 minutes 11, that's not a time you're going to be unhappy with. Obviously, a lot of pressure is going to be on Equestria girls to try and beat this time. They did show a lot of aggression attacking this first point. If they can get a good sack after first and just keep the momentum going, I think it is possible. You can never say never in these type of situations, but they've got to be feeling like their backs are against the wall a little bit with this little time left.
Yeah, there's very, very little room for error here for Equestria girls. They pretty much have to make most of these pushes work, first or second time on most of these points. But Buko taking out Buddy is going to open things up pretty quickly. The flank is maybe overextended as well. They're going to try and stay in with no Demoman and no Pyro as well to reflect anything. So Equestria girls will feel that these are openings, and a big bomb in from Honjo is going to create even more space. I think May will get out of there. Jackie Legs will escape as well. So they will have 9 players up here. SDCK for the second defense, but a very, very quick time on the first.
Yeah, Buko taking out Burden and Buddy there. That already immediately just forced Clark to move his sentry out of the sight line, and encourage them to leave, which is not something that SDCK will be saddened about, I feel, because as I said, the second hold is really where you do a lot of work on this map, and this was where Equestria girls got a majority of their time as well. So, you know, pretty standard setup here. Again, it's equal Ubers. It looks like they're going to want to be coming out from main. The Uber is popped. No sap, unfortunately, comes in from Timmy. He does get taken out, and the Uber just gets absolutely mulched on with a much better pop coming in for Gedu. No more frags really dying, so good restraint there from Equestria girls to not lose any more. But that push just went all the way kind of wrong.
Yeah, never really found the position they would need, but as you say, didn't lose too many plays. Now I think that was that a sack attempt coming in? Honjo and Namba both go down, but there was no Uber for Gedu to pop. Maybe just a little bit of a play to try and get important pick onto Sniper or Medic, but either way, I don't think it's quite going to happen.
So if anything is going to open here, it'll be Buko from Choke. And yeah, he does try to take an aggressive peek there, but the Italian's backup is pop. So for the next, 5-8 seconds, there'll be no sniper picks coming in from Equestria girls, as they're just going to be doing some heavy spy checking here for Timmy. Not allow him to do anything. Another bomb comes in from Honjo, but he doesn't really get anything here. We're going to see Menex on top of the shed as well, just trying to apply some pressure, and he will get Buddy. And Buko does actually take out Likey as well. Uber does come in here as a force from Gedu, and a lot better positioning here from Equestria girls. If they can chase and clean up some of these frags, they might be able to roll through to third if they keep the pressure up. And Namba is going to be trying to do exactly that. The heals are forward, and they don't have to worry about Mezzo behind them right now. They just have to be careful not to feed, which is what Namba unfortunately ends up doing. Just getting a bit too ahead of himself there, and that's going to slow down the momentum on this push.
Yeah, Honjo was thinking about going in for the high bomb, but with no demo man to follow up on, he thought better of it, just cancelled that for the push. And now he's going to try and maneuver himself over to this flank. He's going to be fighting a 1v2 against Jackie Legs and May, and this is what happens so often when you play against SDCK. You just want to take those fights, but you end up being outnumbered by their great coordination.
This is just going to be one of those situations where Equestria girls are just going to pile bodies onto the cart to try and get up the hill. Big Uber coming in here and just gets absolutely deep. My goodness, Buddy just absolutely decimates the entire team. And Honjo does manage to return fire at least to get rid of Gedu on the defense there. But my word, that was just an absolute destruction, Uber. With 1 minute and 20 left, I don't think they're going to mind that much that their med died for that.
That is a big salvage from Honjo. I think that's probably the difference between this being unlikely and impossible at this stage. But as we said earlier, there's very little margin for error. They've already made about as many mistakes as they can. Now they're looking to pressure in through main. Just a lot of space for Old School, but they're just eating damage. They haven't dealt with Dick Source on this little flank health back area either. Now Buddy can just roll forward with all these player picks, with all this player advantage, and with 30 seconds left, I think we're in borderline impossible territory.
Yeah, you can see Chaos Mode was kind of engaged a little bit on that last push. Franticness, just trying to get forward and get something done, but the spam here from SDCK, I think, has just been utterly phenomenal. They've applied so much pressure, and yeah, that's exactly what you don't want when your strategy to try and get up the time. It's just to pile bodies on the cart. Most definitely in the impossible territory now. So we'll be seeing SDCK take Vigil, which was Equestria Girls' map pick. And instead we're going to be heading to King of the Hill Wamrtic, which is SDCK's pick for the UGC Highlander Platinum European Finals.
Yeah, good stuff overall for SDCK on this map. Certainly the first round was very close, but so this is a pretty dominant second round overall, struggle to reach.
I really think that last round, like the first round, I think it was pretty even. There was a lot of like smart flank play from both teams, as well as the picks and the spam in general. But I think like in that last round, I think you could definitely see SDCK settled more clearly. Maybe that smoke break really cleared their heads, and they just showed why they're a dominant team and why they're so, been long lasting. The only time that Equestria girls were really able to push forward was when their pick classes, Buko or Honjo, were able to gain them a considerable advantage before going into the fight. On even grounds, I think SDCK just dominated.
Yeah, it's not always the easiest sniper map, Vigil, but unlike he's on the form he is today, he's just hitting all his shots, 31 headshots in less than 31 minutes. So it's pretty good stuff overall, top fragging. I mean, Dixor's having a really good stat line as well, solid damage, 29 and 13. The fact that, you know, when your heavy's second top fragging on any map, that means he's having a good performance. Standout players for Equestria goes, you have to look at Honjo. He was just having huge impact.
Absolutely.
Not only getting a lot of frags, but also important picks, I think.
And we're going to be going live here into the second map of the UGC Season 41 Highlander European Finals. SDCK versus Equestria Girls.
Yeah, it's going to be Equestria Girls in the blue, SDCK in the red. SDCK took that first map of Vigil cleanly 2-0. We'll now be looking to just win this map to wrap things up. Immediately, Jackie Legs going in behind, finding himself in the enemy house now, around the enemy shot. He's being annoying to deal with. Actually, Gedu's gone down in the meantime, so I'm expecting a collapse here from SDCK just getting themselves in position, but with Jackie Legs getting cleaned up, this has gone about as well as Equestria Girls could have hoped for.
I mean, it's a very passive mid from both teams, and you don't expect the opening frag of a mid fight to be the spy picking the medic, right? So they were probably waiting to just see snipers like opening and just getting some strong picks here. Buko's going to be finding a nice angle from the lower left area up into window, will take down Likey. And Equestria Girls, I think, will have the manpower to walk over point. And they're actually quite deep here as they took this Uber and weren't able to get the frags that they wanted, as Gedu just wasn't part of that.
Yeah, Gedu hasn't been part of this game so far at all. I think he's only on 2 points. He died immediately to Spy, then got killed by Honjo as soon as he rolled out the second time. Now he's in a situation where he's at least at even Uber's parity, but SDCK muscling themselves onto the point already a little bit down in the cap. They don't really have the players to fight it, and Equestria Girls will be happy to re-contest here with Minex.
And Timmy once again finds himself onto the medic. I think Gedu's just not paying much attention from the flank. He's just got his back up against near those containers, and Timmy has just once again found his way in there and gotten another backstab on him. You can't be losing your medic to just random spy picks when stuff isn't going on.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe they've taken a longer break between maps here, SDCK, but Uber comes in through under. It's going to be old school, is able to use that axe to take out Clark, but don't find too much else, and Assassin has no escape himself, so just one frag onto Clark. It's a big frag, but not what they would have wanted with the Uber.
I think it's rather telling that, like, I think Timmy has done more. I think these last two Ubers for Equestria Girls have not been very good decisions. They've often had to go way deep to try and get anything, and it's just too easy for like Burden to kite that. But every time they've decided to take that Uber, it's while Gedu's like already dead. So, yeah, no, Timmy just, I think, got like 1 minute 50 for himself here for Equestria Girls.
Pretty much, maybe, you know, he's certainly providing the frags, but are the comms up to the same level at the moment. But Uber out from SDCK this time. May is chasing down onto Namba, eventually takes him out. Despite Skyfox doing his best with the Wrangler, but he's undeterred. He's actually going to run up top, take out Buko. It's going to go 1v1 with a Listener as well. The Listener will win that, but May has got his value there.
That is very chaotic right now. Assassin has just been on his own, like sort of in the middle by their mini-sentry for a good like 15 seconds now after the Uber just came in. You know, the first Uber from SDCK this match, and none of these Ubers this game have been very ideal. They've been very easily kited, I feel, on both sides. And Amber's going to go deep here, jumping up, and will find a pick onto Likey. Doesn't go down himself, and will find another kill there onto Dixorce as well. Pretty good trade so far from Equestria Girl. If they can just get Menex onto point here and cap this out, yeah, that will be the point going back for Equestria Girls.
And point back in their favour with relative parity on the clocks overall, and nobody for this next fight. So SDCK just going to have to regroup a little bit, get their demo man. back in this fight before they can really make anything happen.
First time this game, both teams will have equal Ubers now. 1 minute 30 or so, give or take, for both teams on the clock. We're going to be seeing SDCK trying to edge their way onto the point here to steal some spam, but Buko does still maintain a fantastic angle in window. It will be continuously applying pressure to them. Jackie Legs just spamming, but they're going to risk it. They're going to keep just trying to put bodies on the point, and the Uber does come back here onto Menex, trading out now. Assassin wondering whether he should stay in or not, but the Uber does get traded. Namber missing from this fight as Legionnaire does get spammed out from window, but we'll see Old School just find his way in and try to take down Dick Sauce with an extinguisher there. Not going to be enough as Buddy just spams them out as they walk forward, and the point will go back to SDCK after Assassin dropped.
See, Namber playing almost pug style, just launching himself in repeatedly, going for these aggressive Ubers as well. Timmy finds another nice little stuff onto Dick Sauce. I mean, it's working at the moment for Equestria girls, but this is the first real time we've seen SDCK able to get an aggressive point position there. Playing mostly forward now, they're thinking about backing up to Banana. Yeah, they've got a mini sentry wrangled, they've got a sniper Likey, finds Menix with that nice little headshot, but he's trying to contest up top, but he's going to get punished for that overextension.
I think he accidentally dead on himself or something there, because he just launched himself out of Banana. He just got like mulched by a Legionnaire as he peeked from the window. And Namber's just going to be bombing by himself over the point. I think you said it yourself, this game feels kind of puggy so far. It is rather chaotic how I'm seeing this go up. I would have expected a bit more organization from both teams here. But we're going to be seeing a big spam angle here from on top of Container from Honjo and Legionnaire as they just apply the pressure. Double detonator kill coming in from Old School onto Likey and Clark somehow. Hill's just not present, apparently. Buddy tries to jump over the container there, but he just barely undershots it and finds himself back underneath. The point back in Equestria Girls' side. This is a very even game so far.
Yeah, decently back and forth, and SDCK, they only really lost Likey there, but felt they had to give up the point. They didn't really have position from Banana without that sniper, and now Namber is continuing to trade damage across the point. Honjo goes in for a bomb, but jumps straight into Dick Sauce's Thomas Slab, and they're even losing Old School on the point. This time it's actually Jackie Legs running into the opposing Thomas Slab himself as a trade comes across the point.
Assassin just gets launched straight up by a combination of the air blast and the sticky, I think, from Buddy, and just got absolutely caught out there. That Uber exchange did not go the way that Gedu wanted it to. I think they just went a bit too far forward, and SDCK just had more bodies to contain the Uber.
Yeah, it didn't quite work out. It's into basically double overtime now, but the stickies on the point. They get Namber, they get Menex, and it is Buddy just perfectly in position, knows where to have his stickies, knows where to be. An absolute menace. That's the perfect time, gets those two frags, and that's enough for SDCK to squeak out that first round.
Like I said, a very chaotic round. We just saw demos flying, spies getting random picks, and we'll see if this round has a bit more organization to it this time. Both demo men rolling out relatively similar. And Jackie Legs is going to do a big bomb behind, try to find himself onto Buko early. Does get him off the high ground. He will try to jump back out here, but he will get taken out as Mezzo finds 2 picks onto Honjo and the enemy spy, Timmy.
Yeah, there's probably enough here for SDCK to think about starting to apply some cut pressure. We haven't seen any super extended mid-fights these last 2 rounds so far, so a little bit of cut pressure, but it can be difficult on this map because whenever you're standing on the point, you're way more vulnerable to different angles than pretty much anywhere else on the map.
Likey in a very aggressive position here on top of the container. Does get forced off for now, and Timmy's going to try and work his way in here to get a pick. Will get caught out as Jackie Legs is forced to retreat from Banana. Equal Ubers here on both teams, and we'll be seeing Equestria Girls try to worm their way onto the point. The round has gone on for nearly a minute now, and there's still been no cap. It looks like the Ubers might come in here soon. No, they're still just going to be spamming and walk themselves off the point. And Jackie finds his way onto Assassin. My word.
That is a big, big play, because I thought we were going to be up for a good 2-minute mid-fight Ubers exchange, but this time there's going to be no Uber. as a possibility for Equestria goes. SDCK still thinking about really making this work, but Equestria goes are not backing up. They didn't have heals for a good 10 seconds there, but now that Uber's going to come in from under, it's going to be on to Buddy May chasing forward. The wrapped a few players, they can get damage down onto Number. Assassin will probably live. He takes one pipe, and no, it is enough. May charges in, follows up on his Demo Man's damage, takes out Assassin, but SDCK have collapsed while all that has happened.
Honjo was able to find his way to bomb in there over the container and managed to kill Gedu in the post-Uber. And somehow, Equestria girls have found themselves onto the cap. This was a very long mid-fight, and Equestria girls will finally take the cap after, I think that was about, like, maybe a minute and a half, 2 minutes?
Yeah, that is technically a mid-fight victory for Equestria girls there as they cap it out for the first time this round. SDCK immediately thinking about getting some pressure. They have a decent amount of space, but it's taking quite a while. Timmy almost gets the stab, but Jackie Legs has already found the important bit.
Jackie Legs was able to bomb up to the window, and none of Equestria girls noticed it, so Jackie Legs just farmed like 2 easy rockets onto Assassin's head and just cleaned him up after. Yeah, there's just no calls on the soldier there. He gets in a good pause. What can you do?
Now a semi-forward hold going. Clark is hiding around the corner, but I don't think a heavy is going to be a class he really wants to deal with.
Oh my goodness! Honjo just sinks onto Gedu, bombs around on the left side and sinks onto him. An instant drop from Gedu. Nothing could be done. These soldiers are making massive plays this game.
Yeah, there's an attempt, a play from Dixos coming out through that main house, but I think Equestria girls are ready for it. They are aware of the players that are lurking. They haven't quite dealt with all of them thus far, so SDCK bought a good amount of time with this, despite this May now running in, but it's a little bit of a players feeding it one by one for SDCK, but they'll be happy to at least control the point.
Guy Fox trying to bring in a level 2 sentry does end up trading with Jackie Legs' jump sprint.
He's able to take out Number, and then he's just alone with Assassin and lands enough shots, forces him out. That's a bit of a disaster for Equestria girls, who they were trying to play it slow and steady, but ended up just being a little bit too ponderous.
And Namba's going to jump forward here onto the container, nearly gets immediately punished by Jackie Legs, but he's just going to barely find himself alive. I like the aggression from Equestria girls here to just walk onto the point and find some spam on them. They have faith that they're not going to get picked off by Lucky immediately, as the spam just sort of consolidate. But we're going to see SDCK run deep underneath as the Uber comes in onto May. They're going to try and find Assassin. Assassin accepts his death with the taunt. They're not even going to bother cleaning up the sentry. They're just going to run.
Didn't have to work very hard to find him there. He was completely caught out by those crates, and as you say, except he said nowhere to escape for him. And SDCK, not overextending this time, have all 9 alive, got the frags that they needed. Now they're looking to go forward, apply a little bit of pressure, take out Skyfox's sentry gun, and actually they could have walked back on the cap, and yeah, they didn't have the cap through most of that, and now they do, and now they have a minute lead.
Girls are trying to win their way forward here. Still, we're seeing no crits coming out yet. When you're at this much of a deficit and you find yourself dying often, sometimes it can often be a strat to just pull out the crits and just go full chaos. See if that makes any difference here. But they are going to stay on the Uber, and they are going to get bodies on the point as the SDCK Uber comes in. You're going to see May and Burden trying to go deep here, but it will be negated by Old School just air blasting back as Menex tries to go back in and just gets immediately mulched too far ahead of his team. But they are going to keep trying to edge this point if he can. Old School doing a good job here as Namba bombs deep, gets immediately headshotted by Likey, and then air shot by a Sticky. I mean, that's just getting wrecked 101.
Yeah, unfortunate for Equestria because they had the picks to make it work. They still have 90% cap time, but SDCK have been able to just about do enough defense, not enough players standing on the point at the same time for Equestria goes always a tumultuous thing on Wamrtic. They have capped it out now, so they've stopped the bleeding. Mezzo is walking straight into Assassin, going for a trick stuff perhaps, but is spotted but not killed.
Uber's being exchanged once again here on the middle of the point. Only 15 seconds left on the clock for SDCK's side, but A.M.R will collapse and find May and Burden. as Likey gets a nice snipe onto Assassin, takes him out, so heals will be in SDCK's favor, just trying to keep Dixos alive on the point as the damage is getting pumped into him, getting a lot of heals back, and they will recap. Oh, but a nice bomb and from Honjo, an excellent cleanup from Timmy there, will get rid of Gedu and Dixos, and they can actually recap this.
Yeah, SDCK are trying to make a fight of it. It's going to be T-board and running straight into Assassin. Gets him about half down, but Equestria goes smartly, just keeping the round alive. Actually, Namba does get sniped. They still haven't captured up, but there's no rush. They do know that they have the faster spawns while they still have the point in SDCK's favor. So they'll just wait for those spawners to come up. They don't want to wait too long now, because suddenly SDCK have enough players to fight here and to maybe even fully contest.
Oh, and Loki gets an excellent pick onto Namba. That's not what you want when you're in overtime and you haven't even been able to cap the point yet. This overtime lasted for quite a while. Assassin may be able to get Uber in time if he's able to keep healing. Oh, but Jackie Legs is in a primo position behind. Assassin may not get that chance, as it's just full chaos now.
Oh my god, Dixos finds another one onto Namba, but the star of the show of that round at the end of it was like he went up to, I think, a 7 or an 8k as the round kind of ended. And yeah, neither sniper had really been popping off up to that point. They'd been a little bit quiet, but like he just finding the spaces at the end of that round and made it very, very awkward for Equestria, because Namba getting sniped twice in a row. Not what you want to see.
I think Timmy and Honjo did a good job trying to keep the dream alive for as long as possible, but it just wasn't meant to be that round. No massive bomb coming in here from Jackie Legs. He's actually going to find himself dying in Banana. But pretty slow mid from both sides. They're just looking for an opening pick, and Buko will find it onto Likey from his position in window. So that's probably going to give Equestria Girls good cause to try and walk forward here and just apply pressure, and he will find a pick onto Buddy as well. So this should be a free cap for Equestria Girls. Honjo's going to try and capitalize on this by jumping up into the revved up heavy in window room.
Yeah, Buko seeing the gauntlet laid down by Likey and immediately responded, but this time he gets counter-sniped himself, so a really important good contest here on Wamrtic between the snipers. There's going to be a trade over the point. Don't see either side getting too much. Oh, but no Assassin. Oh, he gets it blasted up in the air. He's able to escape over the top of the crate. Survive for now, but with so many extra players here for SDCK, can they make another play going forward?
Oh, Honjo did an excellent bomb there, and it barely got denied by Burden.
Buko spawned on the Huntsman for some reason and has gone back to spawn to swap off. Don't
probably some loadout error. You know, he's trying to swap to a different secondary on a preset, probably, I'd guess.
Either way, he's gone back. He's back on the sniper rifle. Immediately enters Jackie Legs and throws the taunt out.
Wow, that's a morale kill right there. If Equestria Girls don't cap the point on that, what's left for them in this game?
Well, their backs against the wall. This is match point now for SDCK for the title. They've already got half a minute off the clock. Honjo jumping in onto Likey, finds him with that Cow Mangala rocket, but Uber's out for SDCK. They don't have a buddy in this Uber to really make it work. Equestria Girls have responded in kind, but they themselves have not found too much, but they will at least be able to finish on the point and cap it out.
I think that wasn't a great decision from Assassin to milk that Uber, because they gave up a lot of pause by retreating around the corner, and unfortunately Menex did end up getting dropped because he just ended up cratering. I think if they took the Uber a little bit earlier and just like had a position up on the point, they probably would have found themselves in a better post position.
Yeah, losing those 3 players in that Uber meant that SDCK were just completely comfortable walking straight back on the point with 3 players capping it out before Equestria could even recontest and get the clock ticking back in their favour. Now, Equestria Girls, they're going to have to deal with a little mini sentry that's Honcho's actually gone back onto the original 2 deal with now, but the clock is starting to look against them.
1 minute 30 seconds left for SDCK to be crowned your champions as the Uber comes in onto May. and the Uber will come back in response to stop Namba from going down, but it's not a great reply Uber. Not much damage really taken out either way. I think SDCK are happy to do that, to just reset the status quo, because they're winning this spam war that they can't seem to be able to, you know, Equestria girls are struggling to break. I think it's really going to require like an opening pick from Buko or something like that for them to be able to get in on this point. But Timmy will find some success in Banana after having taken down Clark and getting rid of the Mini. The Mini in Banana does apply quite a lot of pressure, so they are able to get onto the point here.
Yeah, they're trying to muscle their way in, but they're all just getting blown up by Buddy. That's a 4-kill streak now for him. Like, he is taken out through drop-down numbers, just about able to find him. So maybe Buko will be able to go for something, but he's not the healthiest boy in the world up in that upper window area, looking for some angles, some sightlines. But SDCK are negotiating is smartly just not peeking that sniper, and he finally finds a snipe onto Buko and to Buddy that allows Equestrian to go really far forward and get the force out.
That was really well played by Old School there. That was a brilliant detonator jump around the corner, just applied so much pressure to force the pop out from Gedu there. And I think that was a really key snipe from Buko onto Buddy, because I'm not sure they were aware that they had a 20% Uber ad. I think it was just because Assassin wasn't healing for that much, but it looked like Buddy was about to take that Uber, and that pick onto him I think was very key to allow Old School the space to force them.
Yeah, they're still in it here. Equestria goes. They are a couple minutes down on the clock. Oh, and Mezzo is able to just gun Assassin down. Wow. I don't know who. Oh, I guess he was just underneath him and just finds those important revolver shots. Now Honjo is looking to make a play in response, but just very, very well kited by SDCK. Just putting a big body wall of players in front of their medic. And Gedu will live and crucially have his Uber for what could be the final fight.
I think if you just look at like the positioning from SDCK when like they're holding behind the point, they just seem to have better angles. Like they're just getting a lot more damage, I think, onto the Equestria girls players. They're not really peaking the same way. It's possible that the Sentry, the level 3 they have, might be pulling them back a bit more than they would like to. And a deep Uber does come in here, does not find Assassin or anyone with it, just all over the place trying to avoid the Uber, but it's enough to get them off the point. And that will be the game. SDCK are your UGC Season 41 European Highlander Grand Champions once again. They
were really a cut above Equestria girls. They tried their best. They had their moments. They had close rounds overall, but yeah, different caliber of team.
Taking a look at these logs here, as you stated, like very problematic on this map, putting out 22 kills and 15 deaths at the top of the scoreboard. Namba putting out top damage though, 514, cannot be stated. Perhaps there's something to the pug strats for the aggressive jumps onto container, dealing a lot of damage in return. But you'll see for the most part, SDCK are just putting out considerably more damage all across the board.
Yeah, quite a big kill differential, but the fact, like actually 14 of his frags came in that very close second round, I think he was the difference. When it got tight, he just suddenly elevated his gameplay.
Dick Source as well, having taken a staggering 23k damage, but still putting out a really good stat line of 45 and 21. He was just a constant presence, I think, just always staying up, dealing a lot of damage. As he said on Vigil, he was a big impact. I think just the core of SDCK, their combo play, was a lot tighter and more efficient than Equestria girls, who I think were relying a lot on specific set plays from like Buko, Honjo and Timmy to make openings for them.
Shout out to Core, the strongest Australian, proving that sleep is for the weak. Make sure you're following the channel and support as you wish. But besides that, it's going to be a good night for me, Dave. I've had Raelyn and Core alongside me, and we'll see you at the weekend.